remember the Heart of Azeroth from BFA. Absorbs magic to heal the world soul. Used to free an old god and ultimately used as a conduit to destroy him. Well, right now we have another heart, this time the Dark Heart, that also absorbs magic and that can destroy things, and also an amulet. Now, the first heart was created by Titan Watchers, and if we learned anything is that they don't really want to heal Azeroth, they have a whole prison over it. Based on this, it is likely that the Dark Heart is really the same thing, just a void Black Empire equivalent of the Heart of Azeroth. Think of it as something like the Light and the Void Ashbringer, both powerful but used for completely different things. This is also much more than just an amulet, and soon it will be used for something absolutely insane, either to destroy the worldchamber or to bring midnight. So what is everything we know about the Dark Heart, and what exactly even is this thing? If you wanted anything Warcraft related, Gamivo has the best deals on the market that you can get with my link below. You can get almost every other game software, and they also just added mobile top-ups for all your favorite mobile games with the craziest prices. You can also use my code DORON to get yet another discount, so click my link and get the best deals at Gamivo. So it's super interesting that this artifact is essentially what is driving this entire expansion and even the saga, and outside of a few hints, we still don't really know what exactly it is and what is really going on. The real surface lore is that this is the prototype dragon soul that Deathwing had created back in the day. Now, xal'atath is using it to absorb energies and do something, and that is really the extent of the known lore, and as I said, based on the surface level knowledge. However, we do have some really interesting things going on that make a lot more sense. So the real deal is that the Dark Heart is an artifact unlike any we had seen before. I mean, it literally blew out the entirety of Dalaran that withstood the literal Burning Region invasion, and these Legion guys and Dreadlords wield a lot more powerful than a little trinket, or so we thought. The interesting part is that a lot of known lore, or the lore I previously talked about that we take for granted, is really just speculation. It is all super vague. We haven't exactly found an instruction manual for this thing that spells it out. Chromie told us that this looks like the Dragon Soul, an early version. Khadgar told us that this is likely a prototype of the Dragon Soul that Neltharion had discarded, and recently we learned that the Goblins had originally created it, but it is all maybe, could be. Based on this, you would imagine this is some early project that never ended up going anywhere, half finished, but based on everything we had seen, so far it seems a lot more powerful than the Dragon or the Demon Soul. It seems much more potent. Real quick reminder, you might remember the Demon Soul, later known as the Dragon Soul, as the artifact Deathwing had hired goblins to create. It was infused by the old gods and then used by Deathwing to siphon the power of the dragon aspects. In Cataclysm, it was later used to attack Deathwing. However, based on everything we have known thus far, it doesn't seem like the Dark Heart was a failed experiment and Demon Soul was the full product. It might have even really been the other way around. Dark Heart may have been a lot more powerful, and Deathwing probably wanted to get it back even in Cataclysm, but he couldn't reach the Dragon Isles as they were hidden, so he just resorted to creating the Demon Soul. I think a lot of people forget the lore from Dragonflight, which at the time made it seem like we will get some giant Deathwing storyline, but I think it was really just a setup for the saga from this current perspective. Do you remember that cinematic where Deathwing's Draktyr army were failing, so he just blasted the void to destroy the primary incarnates like they were nothing? Do you then remember when we entered his laboratories and discovered crazy experiments and a lot of documents where he seemed super disillusioned by the Titans that were his masters at the time, and he learned more and more. He started learning more about the old gods, the Black Empire, and how everything he previously believed was a lie. This is actually around the time he created the Dark Heart, and recently we learned goblins were used to create it even back then. However, my point here is that this is not just some blueprint Neltharion gave to the goblins, but very likely some sort of an artifact, something very powerful was just shaped into the Dark Heart. And also, isn't it interesting that it is even called a heart that is dark, by the way, but we'll get to that in a bit. But seriously, think about it. xal'atath, a super powerful being, is after this, the trans-dimensional Ethereals, a whole lot of other forces. Now, this is not just an amulet that can cast a little bit of magic. So something a lot of people have been talking about for a while now is how similar the Dark Heart seems to be to the Heart of Azeroth that you may remember from BFA. When Sergera stepped Azeroth, we went to the Chamber of the Heart, which by the way is a Titan facility, and we were given an amulet which literally absorbed Azerite and apparently healed the world soul. But it didn't do just that, it also absorbed magic, it literally freed N'Zoth, it was even used as a conduit to ultimately destroy him. Now, the Dark Heart, based on all the properties, seems to do pretty much the exact same thing, just on the dark side, literally appears like a light and a void Ashbringer. So far, we know that the Dark Heart does a lot of things, but mainly it absorbs all sorts of magic. It's absorbed the necromantic energies of Galakrond in that travel through time, it absorbed the magic Khadgar through a xal'atath, and we later learned that Khadgar figured that out, so he transmuted himself into a pure arcane and allowed himself to be trapped within it. However, the Dark Heart literally absorbed the entire magic that Dalaran had, making the artifact even more powerful. Now, check this out. So, the Heart of Azeroth absorbed magic, healed Azeroth, and was ultimately used as a giant conduit. The Dark Heart does about the same thing, and both of them are named Hearts. Also, keep in mind, the Heart of Azeroth was created by Magni with the help of the Mother, which is in fact a Titanic Watcher. Now, with all this new lore, try to look at everything through a different lens. The Titans are 100% not the protectors of Azeroth, nor do they want to heal the World Soul. Forget everything that you previously had known about this. It's almost certain they want to turn it into their own, and we know there is a world core, a giant chamber over the World Soul that the Titans forcefully built under Khazakar, as they say, so that only they can be the ones that are able to influence the World Soul. If you catch my point here, I think the Dark Heart is the Void equivalent of the Heart of Azeroth for the Old God version, the Void version of Azeroth, and not the Titan World Chamber version. Just like how the Heart was manifested by the Titan Watchers and Magni, it is likely that the Dark Heart was created by Deathwing and some Void being, potentially even xal'atath. Now she has it, wants to empower it, and very likely use it as some sort of a conduit. Our most likely guess right now is either she wants to use it to like laser destroy the World Chamber and destroy the Titan shell over the World Soul of Azeroth so that the Void can get to it, or to use it to maybe pour the energy into the Sunwell, do something like summon Dimensius, the All Devouring. Remember, last time the Heart of Azeroth was used to redirect Titan machinery to destroy an old god. This time a Void artifact might be able to redirect or use some sort of Black Empire old god facility that we never even learned about. However, where this starts getting interesting is why are the Ethereals after it and why did they even steal it? So, from 11.1 we learned that the goblins fixed it and the random Ethereal came in and stole it, and xal'atath was pissed and they seem to have gone to Karesh. Now, originally we believed that the Ethereals were working for xal'atath, but there must be something even bigger going on with this artifact, given the fact that they came in to intercept it. In my opinion, this makes options even more endless. It makes it more likely that the goal of the Dark Heart is to summon a Void Lord, likely Dimensius, who is the master of xal'atath, and who, by the way, actually destroyed Karesh. Do the Ethereals want to get the artifact to summon him, so they can finally get revenge on him, or maybe to actually save Karesh? As far as we know, Karesh is literally a Void-destroyed planet within the Void plane of existence. Dark Heart absorbs magic. Could it be used to collect all the Void that is on Karesh? At this point, it is really impossible to predict, but once we learn what the Dark Heart is, a lot of Dragonflight lore will finally start making sense. I think it is much more than a simple trinket or some random weapon that Deathwing decided to, experiment with just to expand his arsenal a little bit. Just how the Heart of Azeroth was the Titan equivalent of Azeroth's essence, this could be the essence of Azeroth, but from the Void side. So it is likely that the Heart of Azeroth was trying to actually fix the prison, not the World Soul. I mean, obviously the power of the artifact depends heavily on whatever it absorbs, and seeing right now it is in Karesh, which is literally overflowing with magic, I feel like whatever gets absorbed there is going to turn the Dark Heart into a super weapon that we'll have to deal with soon, and it is very likely going to be what is going to bring Midnight to Azeroth. Thanks for watching, check out my video on the Return to Lordaeron and the brand new Scarlet Crusade lore, and also subscribe to my new raid channel by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time!